The Burton Builds garage seems to have a little bit of a problem. We've got a bit of a water leak, causing a bit of damage inside, well, actually also outside. So I've been putting this off for quite a while now, but today's the day. So to start off with, we've pretty much got the top of our parapet wall. Now it's already got a bit of a bitumen, rubberized bitumen emulsion coating on it. It wasn't originally like this. Originally it had just standard face brick, and then with mortar joints over here. Mortar joints had a whole lot of little holes in it, and I reckon that's where a lot of the moisture, when every time it rains, kind of soaks into the cavity and runs out either side. So what I ended up doing is just putting a little bit of mortar to make all of these joints nice and flush. Mixed up, sand and cement type thing, put it in your hair, let it dry, smoothed it off with a little bit of sandpaper. And then I put this rubberized bitumen over it. Now what you want to do is, I'll show you that stuff just now, but you want to mix it kind of a 1-to-1. So 1 part Super Laykold with 1 part of water, and it thins it down quite nicely, and you kind of paint it on you, and then it's a bit of a primer. So that's basically where we are at the moment. Originally there was actually a flashing here. Yes, some of the old flashing. Also a membrane covered in some type of waterproofing emulsion, probably some type of bitumen emulsion. Ran down originally from here on the wall all the way down and onto the roof. However, there was a nice fillet over there, but throughout a lot of the section here, there was actually a bit of a valley in here which would cup the water, and the water would kind of lie in here. Not quite the right way to do it. So I'd filled the whole valley with a bit of mortar just to create a bit of a fillet, and today's plan is to put a new membrane on with some, of course, new rubberized bitumen emulsion, and we'll start off down here in the valley, and then we'll work our way up over this little like sort of ledge here, and then up the wall, and then we'll continue going right the way onto the top of the wall. That way, I reckon when it rains, the water will rain onto the top, run down into the valley, and then into our gutter system. At least that's the plan. Hope it's going to work. So the product that I've chosen to use today is ABE Super Laykold. Not affiliated with them, I just like the product. It's a rubberized bitumen emulsion. We're also going to use like sort of this ABE membrane. Going to use an old paintbrush to apply the stuff, a pair of scissors, although that's only one scissor, so I don't know. Some water, we're going to need that for the membrane, and then a pair of rubber gloves. Just realized I didn't bring anything to open the can with, so I'll be back now. Managed to get a screwdriver. Also starting to get quite hot now. Should also mention that I did sweep this entire area off. It's nice and dry, no oil, no other funny matter on it. You guys definitely want to do that if you want the stuff to stick properly for a number of years. Then we can take I've just cut a random piece of membrane here. I think this is about 200 millimeters wide and I don't know, maybe a meter long. I'll do like it in a meter section at a time, just with nice overlaps. Always a good idea to, well, specifically with this product, because it's water-based, kind of dip the membrane into a bucket of water, squeeze it out so that it's just damp, just like that, and it helps the membrane kind of set into the rubberizing. Brush is a little bit hard. Didn't clean it properly last time. But anyway, we'll paint a sort of a thin layer on here of this stuff. Like a sticky. I'll pop that on there. You want to make sure you get this nice and thick enough so that when you put the membrane down, it's sort of the membrane is fully absorbs into this bitumen rubberizing. Like a brie. This is why I'm wearing gloves, because as you kind of press it in, it does, this emulsion stuff does come through a little bit, and then it can be a little bit difficult to get it with your fingers. That'll do, and it'll do a donkey. Then we can just sort of pop on another layer of this emulsion and kind of just work it into the membrane or through the membrane to make sure that it's properly saturated. That's the key to get it fully saturated. Now while I'm doing this, let me give you a little bit of a tech tip here. This stuff's water-based, so don't do this when it's raining or when it's just about to rain. How do I know? Well, I've done that before, a couple of hours before the rain. Did all of this, painted this on, thought I was being clever, beating the rain, woke up the next day, and all of this was washed off. We were left literally with this white stuff looking as white and as clean as what it did when it came off the roll originally. So all of this emulsion was washed off. But of course, once it's dry, then it's stuck. Then you can put as much water on it as you want.
So while I continue painting, I'm interested to know what types of waterproofing products do you guys have available in your part of the world? And what do people say about them, and do they actually work? Please let me know in the comments.
Okay, that is looking fairly good for now. So we're going to let this dry for about 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll come paint another layer of this bitumen rubber over this, and then we'll also do a third coat later on. But for now, this is what we're going to repeat all the way down the entire flashing and then down the entire wall. If you're using sort of little joints, you must make sure that you've got lapped ends, probably 50 to 100 millimeter lap, 4 inches or so, somewhere around there. I'll do like, I don't know, maybe 2 meters at a time, something like that. I'm sure that'll be fine. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. I mean, this is just my dog nonsense. Maybe you guys are professional roofing and waterproofing installers, and you can point out what we're doing wrong here. Oops. Nobody saw that. Except for all of you guys, but don't worry about that too much. Nobody sees up here anyway. Other than all the little birdies which come and crap on the roof anyway. Running out here. Luckily I've got a second bucket. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but as I paint it on, or in the bucket, it's actually brown, but when it dries black. I mean, you can see the black over there, but when it's in this sort of wet state, it's nice and brown, very malleable, and just paints on basically like paint, really. Yep. The bigger the gob, the better the job. Not always, but in this case I reckon so. Otherwise a little dab will do you, eh? Yes, just look at that. You wouldn't say I'm a professional. Hey, there's a mongoose. There's a mongoose here on the grass. That's our resident mongoose here. Now have a close look now, look carefully. Oh shit, where's it gone? Oh, there. Have a look there, by the edge of the wall. You got to just squint your eyes a little bit, come a little bit closer to the screen if you're battling to see. Oh wait, hang on. I think I can zoom with this thing. Ah, check it out. There's our little resident mongoose. That little O comes every day. Oh, see, he's going to the back garden now. Comes and chills out here on the grass. Comes and chows these little bugs and all the bits and pieces that he wants. Cruises over to the back, then he goes and looks there for a little while. Comes back, cruises here, sits under the tree there a little bit, and then he buggers off out the little hole in the wall. And he comes and he does this every day. How cute is that? Anyway, back to the job. So, pretty much got this far. Let me just stand back a little bit. So, from there all the way to there, so we're not quite halfway, but almost. We've got that bit to do. Got the entire first layer on. Now we need to put on the second layer with a bit of an overlap. Hopefully it's going to reach all the way up here. I don't know if it is actually. Probably should have measured this before, but anyway. Here we are. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go to probably somewhere around there to get a small overlap at the bottom. Yes. Not too worried about these gaps up top here because our third layer will start down here and then go right over onto the top of the wall, which is all flat. So those will just basically remain air gaps. Hopefully air gaps, not water gaps, but we'll see how that plays out over the years, or at least next time it rains, which I think is probably about 6 days time, somewhere around there. Okay, and that's it. Rinse and repeat all the way down. Fast forward a couple of minutes and I managed to get the entire wall done. So basically we've got 4 layers, one on the bottom, one lapped up, one over the top, and then one flush on the top. So it took a little while, but I just took my time, did it slowly, did it properly, and they should be good to go, provided it doesn't rain. So this is exactly the situation I didn't really want to be in, because I've been in this situation before, and if it rains within a couple of hours of this being wet, it's going to completely wash it off and we'll be left with that white membrane once again. And I'm taking a guess here, but if that gets washed off, it's probably going to go all over the face brickwork, which is going to mess the face, well, stay in the face brickwork, whereas when it happened previously, it didn't matter. It just actually ran off the roof onto the gutter and then down and flushed away. So, let's hope it doesn't rain. Didn't rain last night. Lucky day today. So I don't think it is going to rain, which is a good thing. All of our waterproofing is still on the wall, nothing washed off, of course. And of course you can see nothing because everything is in the shadow. But looking good. And the last thing that we need, well, the second last thing actually that we need to do, you can see it's still a little bit brown, hasn't gone black like that. So it's not fully set yet or fully dry. But the last thing we need to do is to take the same stuff, our Super Laykold, and paintbrush, and now we're just going to paint the entire surface, give it its second coat. And once that's dried for maybe 2 or 3 hours, I think is the recommended thing, we'll give it a third coat. And once that's done, then we let it dry and we wait for the next step. Looks like we're running out of a bit of paint here, but anyway, well, not paint, but whatever the stuff is. Oopsie, already messing. Man, second coat has now been complete. It went on a lot faster than the first coat, luckily. Work is not done though for the day. I see there's a couple of other small odds and ends which I've started preparing, a couple of holes there which need to be repaired, and once they are repaired they'll probably look like that. There's some over here and then some down there by the chimney.
So while I continue with these other small repairs, if you are finding the video useful and enjoying this type of content, I would really appreciate it if you click the like button and subscribe for more DIY videos like this.
So it's pretty much 8 weeks later. We needed to let this first layer cure for 8 weeks before we apply our last layer, the final phase of our repair, this ABE Silvakote. It's a mixture, it's like a bituminous paint with sort of saturated with aluminium. That's why it's all silver. Anyway, we need to go ahead and paint not just one coat. I think it's 2 coats are recommended, probably 3 coats are better, but we need to go ahead and coat our entire section that we've already waterproofed. This just provides a little, a couple more years of added protection against the sun. It also reflects a lot of the heat. Not that it's a problem on walls, but especially if you're doing it on a roof, it works for that as well. But yeah, pretty glad this job is coming to an end. Now, we'll have to be a little bit careful here because this stuff is super runny. We don't want to be painting sort of over the edge and having all the silver drip on the bricks down there. I mean, I suppose I should be putting down some paper, but you know how we roll. Fix the problem later. Anyway, we'll just be careful. And you can see how runny it is here. Check it out. So anyway, just a thin coat. It spreads actually pretty well. Just a thin coat of this, and we should be good to go for a number of years. Actually, it is going pretty well so far. I think what I am going to do though is go and chuck a tent or a tarp down at the bottom there in case I do spill a bit, because it is really, really runny. But that's basically what it looks like, and when it dries, it'll dry nice and silver like that, and it, as I said, it reflects a lot of light and provides a good UV protection.
So I managed to apply 2 coats yesterday, and this is the end result, and I think it's looking pretty good. So this should be good for many years to come before needing a fresh coat of silver paint. Now I do also need to repair the water damage to the garage door, but that how to repair will be next week's video. So make sure you guys are subscribed and enable notifications so that you don't miss out on any of those upcoming videos. Thanks very much for watching. You'll see me next time. Cheers.